My name is Roman Gonzalez. I'm a founder and CEO of Gardenio. We're a product right now. We're a tech-enabled product. So high level, we make it easier for folks to grow their own food at home. We're addressing the problem of the fact that we've been growing our own food as a civilization for 20,000 years. It should be the thing that we're best at, right? And it's still really difficult to do. It's like archaically difficult, just super manual. And so the consequences of that are not just like, oh, it's an inconvenience, right? It's like there are, one of the largest killers in America is heart disease, right? Most of the ailments that are killing people over long periods of time are health and lifestyle related. And so we have an opportunity with growing your own food to kind of introduce an awareness of where your food comes from, an experience that's not only good for you and your mental health, but also your physical health. Then on the other end of that, growing your own food is actually better for the environment. And so you kind of contribute to this really sustainable cycle of events. And we teach sustainability through our entire application, through our entire experience. It's just kind of the first thing you learn. So it's better for the earth. It's better for people's health. And food justice is our third sort of social impact pillar. There are huge inequalities between low-income folks and the rest of us. And a lot of those are food-based, right? People live in food deserts. They don't have the ability to provide for themselves. They don't have access to healthy food. You'll find a growing amount of community gardens and sort of public efforts to address these problems. But it's always sort of relying on the food system. It's like, still, how do we rely on the food system? And so for me, it's this kind of injustice that we're not even considering, like, how do we make it easier for folks to grow their own food at scale? Right? There's nonprofits doing cool work. All we're trying to do the same thing as them, except we're trying to leverage some technology to be able to scale that work, because it is a right to be able to know how to grow your own food. And so we're kind of lowering that barrier. So like there are the social impact problems of how do you address food justice? How do people live more sustainably? A lot of the folks we talk to garden because they want to live more sustainably, and how do you just like feel better, right, in a world where you're consumed by screens all the time? How do you get away from that? And I know that's one of the reasons I tried growing my own food and started to get to it in the first place. So there's these social impact reasons, but then there's this very foundational, tactical, like people want to grow their own food. 80% of new gardeners are between the ages of 18 and 34. My generation is revitalizing this entire movement, and despite all the obstacles. And so how do we give them an experience that meets them where they are, right? That has a modern UX, that is convenient, that sort of meets the standards of 2018. And so that's kind of the problem, right? It's just overwhelming. Information is fragmented, inconsistent, tribal. So how do we create one experience where we kind of can guide folks? And right now we do that with the Urban Gardener Starter Box. And so that has everything you need to start growing organic food at home. It's got 3 containers with proper drainage. They're the right size for what you need to grow. We give you organic, locally sourced compost and potting soil. And then we actually give you starter plants. So not seeds, but starter plants, just like you get from a nursery. So they've already started growing, so you're kind of already successful right when you get the box. So that's the product. And so right now we're working on a mobile application that sort of supports you along the journey, so that it'll connect you to local events and sort of community events. So I think that a lot of technology out there is built to get you deeper into technology, to take your time, to get your clicks, and it doesn't respect people's intelligence, it doesn't respect people's time. So we really want to use technology to get people playing in the dirt. That's really important to us, that a lot of the folks we talk to, specifically gardeners, they're using this as a way to get away from some of the screens, and so we only want to give them kind of just enough technology. And so what we allow them to connect with other people online. We encourage offline events. We're going to be building up a series of meetups and in-person experiences, so that these aren't just random people on the internet, but people in your neighborhood, right? And we're giving you access to the best information. But at the end of the day, we're only giving you kind of like just enough technology and not trying to steal your time. And as part of that, our main goal is to share the experience of what it means to grow your own food. And so we are the path on that journey, and we're going to walk it with you. This is kind of for people who've never done it, who maybe are a little hesitant, or don't know what to expect. We help set those expectations, and guide them along the way. And so I had this experience about 4 or 5 years ago. And so I went to this plant sale and I bought like 13 different plants. I was in over my head. I just like bought them all and took them home. And then I was like, now what? and it seems so simple, right? And so I went to a nursery and I was like, I just bought 13 plants, them a little, in over my head. What do I do? And I was like, do I just like put it in the ground and put water on it? And they're like, basically. And I was like, okay. And it's not that simple. Like all those stores, it's just stuff on a shelf. And there's no guidance, there's no curation, no personalization. And so like even when, and it's gonna get better with time, but even when you kind of sign up with us, it's like you put in your location. And right now we're in 12 Austin zip codes, but we'll tell you like what's good for your area, right? So you don't have to wonder, and like, will this succeed? What does it need? We can just sort of say, based on your conditions, these are the things that you should be growing and how you should be growing them. So that's, we're early days, but that's where we kind of want to get to, where not just stuff on a shelf, it's an actual curated experience. I'm the kind of person that like, I don't think that getting deeper into the screen is gonna make us like happier people. I don't think it's gonna make a better world necessarily. I think that we've kind of had what we've needed all along around us. It's like inside of us, it's around us, it's nature, it's the sun, it's the sea, it's human relationships, it's our senses, food. So this year, the first sort of 4 or 5 months of this year, we've been focusing on just getting operational. We launched in February, and we've got our first big hub of customers since then. And so now we're trying to figure out, how do we get to our next milestone, right? How do we build that customer base? Now that we've learned, we can put something on the internet, people will buy it. How do we start to scale that? And start to really work on some of the technology that we think will like be the underpinnings for the future of the company and our ability to curate and be smart and recommend. How do we not just stay a product company, CPG, but how do we have this tech enablement to really create this whole experience? And all that's just the beginning for us too. I've always said plants are just the beginning for kind of what we see this as long term. So. Yeah, right now it's open. Anybody within our 12 Austin zip codes, which is most of sort of central and surrounding Austin, can go on and buy a box right now at growgardenio.com. They can also follow us on Instagram at growgardenio. We have a pretty active account there where we're just like goofy and just have fun and stuff. We are on LinkedIn for folks who are of the LinkedIn variety, and also on Facebook and stuff. So.